Hey everybody, welcome to the channel. I'm asked all the time, what do I think is going to be the big catastrophic event that's going to happen to us in the United States? And I have one thing specifically, and we're talking about loss of the power grid. There's numerous ways it can happen, by the way. An electromagnetic pulse, coronal mass ejection from the sun, very real possibility, by the way. Cyber attack, a physical attack like a terror attack. In either way, we don't have enough power as it is to be able to go around. We're having more and more energy demands, and the grid's not keeping up. But what I think is going to happen, and I want you to stay with this video because I think you'll see that we're heading for a world of hurt. A black swan event that's literally going to take down our grid and take down America that is coming. And let me go through some diagrams and show you exactly what's happening here. So this is a very simple diagram, basically the structure of our power grid. And I want to start off here. This purple is the electric power plant that's producing our electricity. Nuclear power plant, hydroelectric, obviously solar and wind turbines, gas, coal, etc. And when the plant produces the power, the current to go along these power lines is too high. So we have to have this transformer right here. It's called a step-up transformer that's going to make it so it's usable down these power lines. When it comes to electricity, it's actually really simple. The higher the current, the longer the power lines, the thicker the cable it has to be able to carry it down. So we have this transformer that's going to step it up, which is going to drastically increase the voltage and decrease the current. And when it steps it up, we're talking about on some of these power lines going across the country, upwards of 800,000 volts. And as that voltage goes up, the current goes down as low as, by the way, 700 amps. And that seems like quite a bit. When you compare it to your house, how many amps your house uses, that's actually pretty low considering it's literally these major high tension power lines that's powering the country. So here they are. These transmission lines are those huge towers that you see. They're amazing. And as they continue across the country, eventually they go to your area, not necessarily your neighborhood, but your area, and you have what's called a substation. All that is simply just a step-down transformer. And this takes it down to around 13,000 volts, much lower than before. And this is what we see going into like manufacturing, etc. Giant factories and stuff will use that higher voltage. Not your house, though. Outside your house, pretty close to it anyway, this is what you see here. This one's actually in my driveway. These power lines up here are 13,000 volts coming in. The transformer takes it down, in my case, to 240 volts, then goes down the pole, goes underground into my house. Just note, this is the third transformer in the series. The first one's a step-up transformer. It's huge. The second one's a step-down transformer, also huge. And then outside your house, you have that small can-looking one. And what I want you to take from that is this. This is important. Those step-up transformers that you saw by the power plants are huge. And the step-down transformers in the substations are also huge. Both of them really huge. And when we see one of those blow, for example, we need to be able to replace it. And where do we get those transformers from? From China. Not all of them, mind you, but a lot of them. In fact, we've imported up to date over 450 of these huge transformers from China. Now, we're talking about over 450. And I want you to keep that number in mind because we're not talking about some Chinese junk that you may get, like maybe some kind of smartwatch or, accessory, little kids' electronic toys. No, these are literally high-grade electronic components that are necessary to keep our grid going are coming from China. 450 of them. And it's very interesting because on May 1st, 2020, Trump signed an executive order concerning the grid. It was considered to be grid national security and an emergency for this. And he made this executive order very quickly, mind you, after our government took one of these massive transformers from China. Instead of putting out into a grid, we decided to go ahead and dissect it. And the results of this are classified, by the way. But as soon as they cut it open, they're like, uh-oh. And Trump put out this executive order right away. And again, the actual results are classified, but outwardly, it's rumored that the Chinese have the ability to, simply put, shut them off at a moment's notice. And I don't have a lot of contacts anymore, but I have a few contacts in the government still. And the ones that I've talked with said it's not simply just about electronics there. The ability of the Chinese to shut them off at a moment's notice, but they have the ability to actually make it so these transformers overload, causing them to explode. And overloading with these explosions means destruction beyond repair. And notice most of them in the video were not these really small ones. The small ones, that's bad enough too. We have a waiting line for those as well. But the really huge ones, and once they're destroyed, they're not coming back and our grid goes down. So kudos to Trump for signing this executive order trying to stop this. But then Biden gets in office, and the very first thing he does, look at this, January 21st, he suspends Trump's bulk power system executive order for 90 days. And then 3 months later, another one bites the dust. The Trump bulk power prohibition order has been revoked, and Biden killed it permanently. So here we are today. The grid is totally susceptible to attack. Again, numerous ways, by the way, EMP, CME, or cyber attack possibly. And so what's the Black Swan event? A Black Swan event, if you didn't know, is a major event that with hindsight, we can say, oh yeah, we should have seen that coming. And here's how I believe it's going to play out. Get ready. We're talking about within the next 12 months. Even recently, we've seen a lot of coronal mass ejections. We've seen all kinds of incredible stuff hitting the Earth. And if you didn't know, we're in a solar maximum right now. The sun is putting out far more coronal mass ejections than normal solar flares. And one of these can take out our grid and kill these transformers. It can. But consider this. What would happen if we see, oh, hey, guys, we have warning. There's coronal mass ejection coming to Earth. Maybe it'll be big enough. Maybe it won't. And just at that moment, China shuts it down. Shuts down these grid, shuts down these transformers, makes them blow up. I mean, why would they do that then? Because understand, if right now, out of the blue, China does it, they make it so these transformers explode, our grid goes down, we're going to be like, oh, China, you did this, we're now at war, because we're talking about a major cataclysmic event with millions of Americans dying, hundreds of millions. But suddenly we have a coronal mass ejection. They flip the switch, so to speak, and these transformers explode with this. Well, maybe we're like, oh, wow, this could be simply just the coronal mass ejection that caused it and not China. But the end result is the grid is down, and we're talking about chaos and violence and lots of people dying. Because remember, I told you we're looking at 450 of these transformers in America, 450. That may not seem a lot. But FERC, the Regulatory Commission for Energy in the United States, said that strategically speaking, if only 9 of these go down, only 9, it's enough to make the entire grid crash, only 9. And we have over 450 in America. So if China does this, flips the switch right when there's coronal mass ejection, lights out for America, and now we're in big trouble. Then, on top of that, ready for this? We have record numbers of Chinese nationals coming to the United States. In fact, when we look at all the illegal immigrants coming across the border, China has the most. Isn't that interesting? Considering, look, here we are, our neighboring country, our friends to the south, Mexico. We've always seen lots of Mexicans coming in, trying to integrate, coming into America, raising a family, etc. And you would think out of any country in the world, we would see more people coming from a country, it'd be Mexico. Or maybe even like Central America. But no, it's China. China. Right when they can literally shut off our lights, kill our power grid, and cause these problems, and now suddenly we have literally a huge invading army of Chinese nationals, sleeper cells, if you will, just waiting here for that opportunity. So what's going to happen then? Because I could easily see a Black Swan event taking down our grid right when the CME happens, and then we already have an army here in place too. So guys, this is more than prepping with a solar generator. Sure, have a solar generator. Keep your freezer going. Obviously, you want to keep your food going, and having a light and fan on. But you need to prepare yourself for self-defense, because this literally could be the steps for an invasion of the United States. I know it seems huge, but you know what? Our job as preppers to always keep an eye on what's going on, speculate, and prepare. Thanks for watching.